What's up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome back to the lion's mane in parentheses post-Finasteride syndrome disease recovery. I am still battling each day, and I have made some progress. So the bioregulators, I went through 2 rounds, so $2,000 of Livagen, and I am 100% at a better baseline than I was before. It's just that each day I did those bioregulators, like while they were active, I felt like absolute dog shit. And slowly over time, I built up a new baseline to where I'm completely off the bioregulators and still able to continue fighting out. It's not, my CNS is not anywhere near where it's supposed to be. Like, it's crazy because I look at this footage and I'm like, man, my size is coming back. I look bigger. I weighed 261 this morning, and that's fasted, right? No bullshit. Like, I'm an actual 261 right now, and I feel heavy. I don't like sleeping anymore. Like, remember, when I was at the peak of the disease, I was like 211, like straight cancer patient. Like, I look like 150 pounds. My face at 215 on my pinned Instagram post. My face when I was suffering from PFS around 220. And then here's my bloated face now at 255. None of my muscles held any water, any nitric oxide at all. It's just like, when is this going to start healing as far as the strength goes? So I have started injecting more L-Carnitine, and I've been injecting L-Carnitine in my legs. I can't really say I've noticed much of a difference, and I have had really good sleep as of the past couple of days. So I'm able to sleep again. I am able to feel weed normally again. And it's the training thing, right? Because the legs fully are not on, and that like redistributes the pump in quotation marks, and I don't have enough. And pretty much I remember like the form on this is bad, and you're saying like I'm doing the form where the pump like stops, if that makes sense. Like if I would fully extend up or do slower contractions, I would feel like some weird sort of way in my shoulder, like socket bones. Like if I did that, I do see this footage, and I am just training at a pace. I've been trying to train every day, and I had one rest day this week so far, versus like how it used to be is I would train, literally could barely walk after, had to sit down all day. Next day barely recovered, barely could get out of bed. And now I'm almost training every day. Sure, it's not the strength I want, and sure, like the pump fades. Like right now pulling that, I remember that my pump was not there, even though it looks like it's there, and it feels like I'm pulling flat, and like it's like the muscle thing of like, okay, I should stop training. Like I'm overtrained at this point. Like I used to never get like that from how my training used to be. But I've been overall really happy that those bioregulators weren't a complete waste of money, because I've wasted shit tons of money during this, and that was one of the most expensive treatments, and it seemed to absolutely do the job. I'm probably debating on doing one additional round of bioregulators, but I don't know. I don't know if it's really worth it at this point. I'm just being impatient, because at this point the linear healing is very linear. Everyone around me is noticing that I'm getting better each day. It's not like before where everyone's like, man, he's not getting better at all. I am getting better each day. It's just like not at the pace I want. And what alarms me is the legs. But I did go crazy. I started training legs every single day. Now I'm not doing full leg days, but I'm doing feeder volume. And that seemed to progress them at a faster rate. But the legs, remember, you're walking around all day on your legs. That's a whole different, whether it be whatever's wrong with my legs, right? That's a whole different ball game than, using the upper body, which isn't used anytime you're standing or walking. Like when I sit down, my legs fill out now. They used to not fill out at all when I sit down. But when I'm walking around all day, when I'm training in the gym using my upper body to this max degree, I feel it being pulled out of my legs. And that's just overall, I have to give an extreme case environment to where my body has to keep readapting until my legs are fully filled out, despite me feeling like dog shit in the gym. Like, it is a mental game out the ass to continue training like this. Because, like, when I'm doing these shrugs, remember, I've been a gym cell, right? I've been training so long, it's not even funny, right? I don't train to, like, look pretty or shit. Like, I train to get my bipolar energy out. I only give a fuck about training. And it's, like, really irritating me each training session to a point where, like, I will leave the gym fucking livid because it's like I cucked myself during the workout. It's like a cuckery. It's like I go in the gym, I want to release all this stress, anger. Boom. I start training. If I push my body too hard, I could like shut my stomach off. I could have issues walking. And you guys have already seen how Austin throw it up. My bloodshot eyes in the short. I mean, like, I pushed this workout to the max to where, again, we don't know what's going on, but all it feels like is if I would do fucking coke or something where my blood pressure goes crazy and my eyes get bloodshot, and that's after doing, like, just boxing, right? It seems like that neurochemistry is mixed up to where I've used so much dopamine that there's, again, something that's not counteracting it, whatever that is. You know, I don't claim to be a doctor on this YouTube channel. If I think it's allopreg, and when I take an allopreg step converter and it helps me, but I haven't been taking any PEA. I've been staying away from PEA. I don't want that as an addictive crutch. I want to get back to normal without it, or use the bioregulators to free up more of those enzyme conversions or whatever the fuck is lacking. But it all stems from the legs. My legs are so freaking big that even though my legs are half back, you know, some of my friends are like, your legs look like they're coming back. Yeah, for like a normal person, but these legs are like insane. So like that's what's worrying me, is that the level I had my legs at was ridiculous. All I did when I was younger was train legs. I always wanted big legs. And for them to not turn back on after everything else basically is, and my body being under stress because the legs aren't feeding the central nervous system correctly, is a big problem, because I really don't know what to do. I remember rowing this, and Austin's like, Ryan, you did so much volume at such a pace, and you did all your reps super fast. I could barely row that, right? It didn't feel right at all contracting. The mind-muscle connection was basically gone. The pump was gone, and I already basically gassed the shit out of myself, and I could feel my legs, my ass, all starting to shake from everything being pulled out of them to go to the upper body. Remember, I'm trying to create that ammo reserve so I can fully recover. I think it's funny, you know, I had a lot of victims message me like, you're not 90% recovered. Like, this is what 90% looks like for me personally, at the size I am, with the amount of lean tissue I had under my bloat lord flub, right? It's not like I was just a bloat lord, right? You could look at the volume I was doing and be like, this guy has to have some muscle to do the volume. So when I got to legs, I can't feel them at all. So don't bitch at me about the range of motion. It literally feels like they're gonna collapse. I'm literally just trying to give some sensory input to the brain, pump some blood down there, see if something changes. And like I said, after this workout, I'm like, fuck it. I'm just doing legs every day. This is getting ridiculous. I want the legs back. At the end of the day, I was very sick, extremely sick, deathly ill, to a point where my legs were going to atrophy. I think like my ego can't, you know, comprehend that my legs did atrophy and that I need to relax a little bit. But man, they do not turn back on. Like, it's like a neuromuscular thing where they do not turn back on like the rest of my body's turning back on. It's not linear. It's not predictable. It's because I'm walking around all day, and all my activities require balance that comes from the legs. It requires stability that comes from the legs. It requires cerebellum strength that comes from the legs. Like, that's my baseline, is that I was a wrestler that literally would get taken down, and as a child, like constantly, right? I would get taken down, be hopping on one foot. I had crazy cat-like balance that I kept even at this bloat lord physique. That not being there triggers me instantly. And when I fell down the stairs, I was triggered for like 3 days because I was training legs. You know, it's not like I'm not training legs. I am training the fuck out of these legs, and they are barely turning back on. I'm just describing the viciousness of this fight for the actual victims. As you can see at this point, I don't know, maybe my dopamine's too high. That's kind of how I felt. I had a dopamine headache and everything, and it couldn't be offset. But my eyes are completely bloodshot. I should have stopped training, right? The ego is getting the best of me at this point. I really want to push into that deep water, so my body makes a mental note of like, hey, you need way more, whatever's lacking, if you want this to work out, because I need to induce the stress environment that I was in before all this shit happened to me to facilitate this recovery. It's been one of the most brutal things, the most brutal thing I've ever had to deal with in my entire life, and I'm still not back with the legs. But everything else I can say is normal. My sex life is normal. I can watch movies, enjoyable, normal. I can pair bond. Like, me and my puppy are finally like pineal gland pair bonded. He's listening to me now. You know, everything as far as the Adon is gone. All my dexterity and my character is back. The legs are not. And I can get to a point where my whole body's drained, but my brain's not shutting off. So that's a plus. But when I'm pushing my legs to a point where I'm literally debating, oh, can I do another set? Oh, I brought Austin with the camera here. I might as well do another. Like, I should have stopped training. But I'm really trying to focus on my muscle connection, obviously, on these reps, and just try to facilitate the most neuroelectricity firing down there to, again, hopefully reawaken my damn legs. I don't think you'd be able to recover your legs as an older victim. I feel like I'm barely getting away with recovering these legs at 26 years old. I can't imagine having this disease, you know, at a severe stage, upwards of 30, and trying to recover the legs, because when we look at enhanced bodybuilders who have extremely long careers, the one thing the trainer will always tell them is, hey, you can't stop training legs at all, otherwise they won't come back, right? So just keep that in mind. That's my irrational fear. That's why it's like, oh, Russo, shut the fuck up, you're healing finally, you should be happy. It's like, oh, I'm happy, but I am like hypercritical in the back of my corner of my head, concerned about my legs. I remember doing lat pull down. I wanted to continue pushing a pace that I normally would. The dopamine headache after each set was mind-boggling, as if I'm just in the bathroom doing lines. I can feel the blood pressure in my head. Literally completely exhausted my body to a point where, yeah, I had to stop the set. I remember I had to stop the set, like, and then I kept going. You know, my ego was definitely too high during this, and I wanted to, you know, I was going off. You know, I wanted to train like how I used to train before this bullshit happened to me. You know, this is how I used to train. This is how I would feel relaxed after the gym, is actually pushing my body. I enjoy training. I don't like that. That's like, I've always just enjoyed training. Like, I use it for my mental health. If I don't train hard, I don't feel good after. I feel bad. I go home fuming, right? And that's what I've been trying to like get to a point where it's not like I'm cucking myself, but I'm not having a heart attack and dying in the gym at the same time. As far as pre-workouts going, I'm not doing any pre-workouts. I'm not doing anything. It's just like, that's the neurochem bullshit that needs to be fixed, right? If I can't offset the fucking seizure or the fucking, you know, headache, blinding headache, there's definitely something neurochemical related that is not adding up yet. Probably facilitating with the legs not having the ammunition for the central nervous system of the conversion rate. So I did want to showcase my boxing, and I wanted to have Austin throw up the old boxing, where hopefully he shows me in a good light that these strikes are faster. As you can see at the end of the workout, even though my eyes are bloodshot, I probably shouldn't be doing this. My blood pressure is probably not very good to be doing this. I wanted to showcase that you can see that I'm in a looser ability to box. Like, I feel more quote-unquote relaxed when I'm throwing striking, which allows me to strike harder. I know that's kind of counterintuitive. I've only had like 4 boxing lessons in my life, but those 4 boxing lessons made a big difference in how I box, and I definitely feel much better throwing than I did. I used to feel like a stiff old man with my central nervous system. Like, I couldn't throw hard. Like, I could throw with accuracy, but I couldn't like shimmy, throw hard. I couldn't do feints. It just didn't feel natural, right? I didn't feel smooth. I didn't have my quote-unquote chi dialed in, just hitting a bag for fitness, right? Let alone an opponent, right? So this feels a lot better, but I am definitely completely burnt at this point in the workout and just doing some overall fitness, right? It's not like the last time where I saved some gas in the tank. I am absolutely done for. And I did want to showcase how my striking looks different. I do believe my striking is a lot better. And after the workout, me and Austin both talked about how we do think, at least a little bit, that my physique has changed since the Valparate. I do feel different. I do feel like all my muscles are fast twitch, where I had like a mix before. And I do feel like maybe the adaptation of all my long distance running has been destroyed, and it's been geared towards boxing, weightlifting, fast twitch firing, because everyone is telling me like what happened to your arms, what happened to your shoulders. Like, they look strangely different insertion wise. My forearms extend down, like the insertions extend way farther down. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I don't know. Again, this is with no pump, completely flat, deteriorated, 260 pounds in the morning, just focusing on calories. Like, I'm just focusing on like giving my body building blocks to get the central nervous system strong again. I'm not stressing out, trying to cut, trying to do anything, just staying super hydrated and just eating like by instinct, right? I'm not binging, but I definitely don't want to go down in weight until I have the strength volume to carry down in weight. But I am really looking forward to being 230 pounds again, right? 260 is too heavy for a dude who's 5'11" like me, 6 foot on a good day. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in my next one.